Another Split goes back at it, and today we're in the Cheltenham area, and today's topic will be on about how social media is used to manipulate people's perspectives on worldwide news. Hello, I'm here with today.
Honor. And Alex.
So I'm here with today.
Jake.
Alright, so I'm with here today.
Dane.
I'm here with today.
James Hills.
Well, today, do you think, as a young person, social media is used as a manipulative source for the news? Do you reckon it manipulates the news in any such way?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, I think it does, yeah.
It does. So today, do you think, as a young person, that social media influences how we see news in the world events today?
Yeah, I think it does. I think a lot of depression comes out of it, and just people care about the likes and all that kind of stuff. That's what I think.
Very good opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
So Dane, do you think, as a young person, that social media influences people's perspectives on world events?
Yes. Yes, and
Could you elaborate on that answer, or?
well, it spread so quickly. I think people might not be getting all the facts necessarily. They get someone's opinion.
Yeah, there's always some sort of bias with social media in play. So, do you think, as a young person today, that social media influences people's perspectives on world events?
Definitely. Yeah.
Could you elaborate on that, or?
I can't think. I'm gone blank mind. Sorry.
That's alright. That's fine. And James Hills. So, do you think, as a young person, that social media influences perspectives on worldwide events?
Not a heap actually. I feel it's more the mainstream kind of news media. I feel like that has an actual effect. While
A bit like 7pm Project and Channel 9 and 7.
yeah, programs like that tend to have more of an effect in my opinion. However, I do feel that social media it's a bit complicated, but I get the feeling that it kind of raises awareness about the issues more. However, I feel like opinions are more put forward.
Well, yeah, put forward there's going to be lots of extreme on both sides, the left and the right, and we can see that more with people posting, especially with the federal election coming up, with how a couple of candidates have been removed due to stuff they've done in the past. And what are your thoughts on the Christchurch terror attack being reported quite heavily on compared to the Sri Lankan bombings? It was still being reported on, but not as heavily as.
Yeah, it's because it's because of racism. It's because the Sri Lankan people are brown, so we don't care about them as much as New Zealand people, because we consider them to be white. And I mean therefore we we value their lives more as a society, which is really disgusting. But it's racism. Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on the way the Christchurch terror attack was reported compared to the Sri Lankan bombings that wasn't heavily publicised?
I reckon it should have been the exact same. Exact same, because they're both bad things. You know what I mean? So I think they should be reported the same, and one shouldn't be less important.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And second question, what are your thoughts on the way the current terrorist attack in New Zealand that happened compared to the reporting of the Sri Lankan bombings that wasn't as heavily publicised, but compared to New Zealand?
No, it wasn't. But that may take into account that it was live posted, which may have caused a stir there and may have caused people to not immediately go to social media the second time. So it may not have got as much coverage that way.
That's a valid answer there. Very, very happy with that, Dane. Question number 2, what are your thoughts on the way how the New Zealand Christchurch terrorist attack was portrayed and publicised compared to the Sri Lankan bombings?
Absolutely terrible.
Do you think there was a bit of bias in reporting with the Christchurch compared to the Sri Lankan?
Yeah, definitely.
Question number 2, what are your thoughts on the way the terrorist attack that happened in Christchurch, New Zealand, was portrayed compared to the publicity the Sri Lankan bombings got?
I honestly haven't been up to date that much, so I haven't really seen much about it. But from what I've seen, they're kind of they've both been viewed as tragedies, but I feel like the Christchurch was in the news for a shorter period. That might have just been I wasn't paying attention, but that's just what I kind of got from it.
Yeah. Too easy. And as a young person today, what do you think needs to change in terms of how we use social media in reporting the news?
There just needs to be more regulations and for people to be held accountable when using it inappropriately in terms of like manipulating like people like to kind of make them fear certain races and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think fact checking needs to be more accurate as well, and just like, you know, the use of alternative facts, as we've seen from, you know, Trump coming in and stuff, has been thrown around a lot. So I think it just needs to, like, the facts need to be stated, and that needs to be that.
Well, thank you for your time today. As a young person today, what do you think needs to change in the use of social media?
I think people need to stop hating on people for being themselves. Like a lot of people got problems, and I think that if you haven't been through it, don't judge. And I reckon social media is kind of like the comments and the hates and the dislikes should stop. But I think like the likes should still be there, but the dislikes and the hate comments should stop.
I reckon it's a very valid opinion.
Yeah.
I reckon the girls should stop flexing on Instagram with their Gucci and all that, because nobody cares. Money can't buy you happiness.
There's other people out there in the world that don't have as much as we do, and so we have to be grateful for it. Well, thank you guys for today. Well, as a young person today, what do you think needs to change when using social media in reporting news?
I think anything on social media needs to be taken with a grain of salt, for starters, and there's probably not enough. I don't know how you would police the validity of anything on there. Like if you put a report in a proper newspaper, you can be charged or at least taken to court for libel or slander or anything like that, and that there's no way to do that in social media really, and no one seems to want to take it on.
Yeah, I think there should be like a procedure in place, so just in case that does happen, we can have a successful justice system, you know. But thank you, Dan, for your time today.
Have a good one.
As a young person today, do you have any like tips to help improve social media as a news reporting service?
Probably just like play fair, like don't, you know, hate on other people, you know.
Yeah. Don't like put something like share a meme or something like that. That's a bit offensive to someone of a different like culture compared to yours.
Yeah, probably think before your actions.
I think that's a valid response. Well, thank you. And as a young person today, what would you give one tip to improve how we use social media in reporting the news or portraying our own opinions?
Probably treat the government less like a reality TV show and actually kind of treat it seriously, because
a lot of people don't take their vote seriously coming up in the next election. We're probably going to have some big consequences on either side, whoever gets in.
Yeah, it's kind of, there's just too much drama going on in the government, and something seems to always be happening, and I kind of feel like they should just stick to kind of
what they know best and just back to basics, really. Yeah,
essentially, and less kind of attacking each other, more just showing what they're going to do.
All right. Thank you, James Hills, for that. Well, that comes to a conclusion of yet another Malice Brilio video, and today the people's thoughts and opinions of social media being used to manipulate us into thinking what they want us to hear. We had some good opinions on how that it's not necessarily the mainstream media that's doing it, it's more individual people who are using their own opinions to express political agendas and different world events. Like for example, the Sri Lankan bombings compared to the Christchurch terrorist attack. So that comes into conclusion, and hope you guys all enjoy watching another Malice Brilio street interview.